when you want to make a new name, you want to make what they call valid publication of the name. So basically valid is equal to legal in the sense, meaning that um, is the correct way of making new names. And this is actual terminology that people use, a valid publication. So your name can be, so if you do this the correct way, your name become valid name. So sometimes people will call it legitimate name or valid name, or mostly it's called valid name. And if your name is done, if you not satisfy all this, you have a invalid name or illegitimate name, and your name is not correct, and people would not accept your name. So let's say I discover a new species of plant today, which I have, but I already published that, but not today, a long time ago, and not plants, lichens. So I first have to come up with the grammatically correct Latin word. So I have to understand Latin at least enough to come up with the two names, right? So for example, this is the species I discover. So Graphis, right, is the genus Graphis, and I discover, not I, our group discovered a new species from Korat, right? And Korat is not really a Latin word. So like you have to make a combination. For those who take French or Spanish, this will sound familiar, the conjugation, conjugación. So you make sure you have the same case. Graphis is neutral, so you have to have something with ensis, with is at the end. So the word ensis means coming from. So Koratensis work perfectly. So that's a correct name. Yeah. I'm not going to make you do this in the class. Like, this is not Latin class. Like, we can spend forever on conjugation, and conjugation is the worst thing in the world because I never remember the gender of the word. So I have to guess them every time, and I mostly guess them wrong. So, but there's a few ways of figuring out, and I walk you through it. So, but you don't have to do this in the class. This is not language class. First of all, you have to make sure your grammar is correct. If we have a wrong gender, like they consider my name invalid because I'm stupid at Latin grammar. So basically that. So first have to be correct. And the second, you must have type specimen, which is a reference specimen chosen at the time of naming. So if you like, I found a new plant called Graphis coratensis, but I don't have type specimen, they're like, bullshit. Show me the specimen, show me the reference. Like, where is it? Like, I don't have one. Like, what do you mean? I saw one once, it's in the forest, it's right on that tree. Like, nope, not gonna work. But this is when like the rules are retroactive, but not like so they add this at the time of naming if naming happened after January 1st, 1953. You don't have to memorize this, just like after a certain date. Before that, they may or may not have the type specimen because that's a long time ago. But if you want to make them correct, you have to go back and find them a type specimen. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So, but from 1953, from then on, you have to have type specimen. At least for plants. This is the date from plants. So zoology have different dates. So, and the third one, you might have a diagnosis. So diagnosis is a short description of that name. So what do Graphis coratensis look like? Tell me what it looks like. And in plant, before 2007, it has to be all in London, and they fought very hard in Melbourne. This is happening in Melbourne, and so many tears because they were like, can we do this in English? Because I have a friend who naming new species before 2007, and he had to find a Latin scholar to help him write one sentence explaining this species. He doesn't know Latin. He's just like, and the sentence will be like, leaf short, different from the other one. That's it. That's the best Latin he can come up with, and you need that to be validly published the name. So you can use Google Translate, but then remember, if your Latin is grammatically incorrect, your name become invalid. So it's like all the work you put into naming new species just gone because you have the wrong grammar for Latin. People were like, really, really, really? So like they really fought really hard, and then now English is now acceptable. This is a very new thing, and there's an old man, Paul Silva, at my school and back in Western Berkeley. He's 90 years old, and he gave a talk on the lament of Latin. So like the lament of the dropping of Latin as a requirement. It's like such a beautiful language, and it's served us so much in the past, and we now abandoning them, and civilization is going down. And it's like, oh, poor Paul. Like it's not. I mean, like it's gonna be with us for a little while, for a long time. So it's not gonna go anyway. So yeah. Oh yeah, they do high grammar Nazis as editor, and oh my god, the editor of the taxonomic journal are grammar Nazis. Like they'll like pick everything apart, and I'm one of those people. So sorry guys, you're talking to grammar Nazis here. So I'm one of those people. So this is a gatekeeper. We want to make sure that things are correct. Like we don't want to make lousy works go through. So, and last but not least, you have to distribute it to various parties. And in botany, anyone want to guess how many people you have to send it to make it public? Various here is very interesting number. 4, very close. 5 is correct number. More than 5. So in botany, so like if you discover new species on Mahidol campus today, you write Latin word, you collect reference specimen, you write a short sentence in English. They have green leaf with white flowers, and you copy that to 5 your friends, or even this day, you put it online, you put it on the website, and 5 people viewed it, there's 5 likes on your status, then you're done, you have new species. Yay! That easy. Like, really? That's just how stupidly easy. Yes, and that is very dangerous because remember, the rule has to be retroactive. We want this condition to be really loose because then it applies to all the species we have named in the past 200 years. You're talking about the day that the species do it in Gutenberg, like the publication, you need Gutenberg machine. You have to put in each letter into the press. The word press, like the press, remember, like the press where the publication happened, the press literally used to press the letters onto the paper. And that's how difficult it is back then. So 5 people is already like 5 pressing. And when Linnaeus published about 300 names, it's a lot of pressing going on, So there's a lot of work. So 5 people is already big enough numbers if you want to cover everything back in the day. But this day, they have additional provisions that you have to register for online database, blah, blah, blah. So that's happened since Melbourne. So, but that's a general rule. So if you want to make a new species, that's super easy. Like you can name a new genus. I did that too. So it doesn't take a lot. So but you have to do it right. So it's not difficult, but it's not easy either. So what is a type specimen? And this is a key concept in taxonomy. And you like this, what is this thing? This is a prototype of kilogram. So if you ever wonder what kilograms ever was, and like you step on your scale every day, it's like, oh, gosh, go up again. It's like, it's not you, it's gravity. And if you want to, like, maybe my scale is wrong, it's just lying to me, just want to make me feel nice, you can go to Paris and ask to see the Legrand call. So the Legrand K is the gold standard. It's like, this is the kilogram. So like, you want to know how, oh yeah, they did that. That happened a couple of years ago. Yeah, because there's there's some weird thing happen in the universe. Basically, physicists figure out there's something happening in a black hole, and the gravity changed by the 16 decimal point. So they have to declare the change in kilograms, and yeah. So there's something happened that I don't really understand the whole physics thing behind it, but it's really physics reason. But that mass right there is still the same one in Paris. It's heavily guarded, like no one will ever allowed to see them, and it's just so sacredly protected. And in biology, we have the same thing. We have the type specimen. So this is the original specimen of the very thing that represent that species. So like if you want to see these acuities, like they have and they usually have the signature called type. And it's like, this is the specimen. If you want to see what the name, oh, I just write over my own slide. Tenomys andersoni look like, you have to go see that specimen and you compare that to that one. So that's the original of that name. So anyone ever question about what its the original look like? So yeah, we need to kill one to get one. Actually, especially sad for birds, because back in the day, how to get Thai specimen, they shoot birds. Or the bird watchers like, ooh, there's new species. Psh. Really, I'm not kidding. This is real. Like the bird watcher back in the day, they have shotguns with them. So binocular and shotguns. Like, oh, I think I found a species. Boom. And there's a few species that actually now like this extinct because of that, because of taxonomists, because there's so few of them and they like shot them out. I think and there's some seabirds in the Atlantic Ocean that basically wipe out because of taxonomists. So yeah, we can talk about we get so many things wrong in science, and we learn so much from this. And same thing with anatomy class tomorrow. You guys taking the class. Most of anatomy knowledge come from concentration camp during Nazis time, and Nazis provision experiment on human being, live human being, to figure out the brain function. So they have like what is it called? The procedure you cut the brain open. I forget the name escaped me. Oh, lobotomy. Yes, lobotomy. Yes. So you cut the brain open. You basically stuck the needles in certain place in your brain and see what went wrong. And like, oh, that's control your emotion because I stab into that. You go crazy. Like, yay. And yeah, actually the US is the one to pioneer the thing in eugenics. So they're the first to do that. And the Nazis just like, oh, that's a grand idea. Let's do the same thing with the Jews. So yeah, so we can talk more about that later on. And in plants also, this is the very specimen that describe the marijuana, the cannabis sativa. So that's the publication from Linnaeus. Linnaeus named this thing, and he cite this specimen number 1177.2. So if you want to know if you get the real weed, like let's say you buy the weed from your dealer, it's like that's not cannabis sativa. Let me go to Sweden and check out this type specimen. Oh, you're totally wrong. It's much bigger. And to tell you the truth, most of the weeds in the market today are not this species anymore because there's so much hybridization going on, and the good one are the hybrids, not the original species. So the more you know. So how do you collect the animals ratify the same rule apply to hypothetical? What do you mean by hypothetical species, like Bigfoot? So
Like the species that are spotted but elude capture.
so most of the animals, like even though they're rare today, they have at least one specimen that was deposited before. So we're gonna talk about those two, like the ones that like they might have a specimen, but specimen not there anymore. We have a way to correct that. So bacteria is interesting because bacteria are it's really difficult to keep bacteria strain. So I think there's a couple of ways dealing with it. And this day they allow for the sequencing typing, meaning you can use DNA sequence as a type specimen. But so the first bacteria that get that name, so you get the DNA sequence for that and use that as a reference. So I think it's allowed in bacteria now, not so much in plant and animal yet. There's a fight, really heated one actually it happened in Bangkok, Thailand, because the International Mycological Society, the fungi people, meet in Bangkok and fight about the fungi rules. And there's a camp of people from Netherlands want the sequence to be allowed as a Thai specimen, and the mushroom people are not happy about that. It's like, but this, like, what are you gonna compare it with? Like, there's so many sequences, and they're like, so in the end, you want to guess what happened? Because it's Thailand, so people are focused on Thai food and so spicy. So that measure did not pass. You still cannot typify, you cannot do the Thai specimen by sequence. Still not allowed. Still not happening. But they say that you can put that in the description, and you should. So they encourage people to put the sequence, DNA sequence in there as a reference. So I think, but that's allowed for bacteria already. So I think most bacteria people just, they keep live collections and they keep, like, like freezing them or some shape and form, but it's not a real requirement for the bacterial naming anymore. I think most people in bacterial world stopped doing binomial system a long time ago. They just like, that look like E. coli enough, good, and they just go with the strain name. E. coli's, and it's the same thing with all these virus too, like they call it H1N1, H152. It's just keeping unofficial name, official but not the linear system way. So they kind of go that route. It's like, yeah, let's not worry about that. We have much other thing to do. But the plants, animal people would not let go of this. They were like, we cannot stop having Thai specimen. We must have Thai specimen. So this is the real thing. So the process of designating Thai specimen is called typification. So you have to provide a Thai specimen. So if the author left the specimen in the new description, so they have the new species and you have the series of specimen you list in your description, if you pick one single specimen and call it a type, that thing is called holotype. You choose it. The holo mean whole. You the one who pick the specimen, and have to be picked at the time of publication. And the duplicate of that specimen, duplicate of that holotype, is called isotype, mean the same. For example, you could collect that cannabis, right? The marijuana. You collect 5 plants and you select one of them to be the holotype, and the others are isotype. And you may also see another weed plants all over the place, and you collect them also and you list them as well, but you need not say anything about them. So this is called syntype, mean together. It was collected together at the same time, but not exactly the same plants. So this might sound a little weird. And exactly, that's why I have Pokemon as example here. So for those of you who are not in Pokemon world, I have to explain a little bit. So this guy, his name is Satoshi. He's a aspiring Pokemon master. So he spent almost whole series trying to be Pokemon master. And he if you want to be Pokemon master, you have to capture a lot of Pokemon. And to capture a lot of Pokemon, you have to fight Pokemon to pick them. So that stupid little ball there do that. So on the left side, you have Pikachu, right? So let's say Satoshi found Pikachu, and like, oh, Pikachu is so cute. I want to capture you all. And there's so many Pikachu to pick from, right? There's so many yellow, cute little thing with thunder-like tails. So Satoshi collect 4 Pokemon, Pikachu in different form. Like there's a cute Pikachu, there's a funny Pikachu, there's a cherry Pikachu. So he collect them all and name like number 1 to 4. And like Satoshi said, I choose you, Satoshi 1001, as my holotype. So Pika, I'm a holotype now. So this is a holotype. So from now on, if he go on the Pokemon race, like what does Pikachu look like? It's like, go see Satoshi 001. That's your holotype. That's something you compare with. And Satoshi collect this at the same time because they look exactly the same, but it's 2 copies. There's like, look in the cabinet. So when you open up the drawer, there's like a dead Pikachu like sleeping there. Two of them look exactly identical. So that's one is isotype. And all the additional specimen that listed at the same time, like, oh, I also see this number 3 and number 4 that look kind of similar. They also Pikachu. So this is called syntype. But the one that actually have the authority is called holotype. Oh yeah, I forget that. Ash, yeah. So his English name is Ash. The Japanese name is Satoshi. So you watch Pokemon, the US version and the Japanese version have different names. So I gotta mix that up because I watched them both. So that's the holotype. So the holotype is the main one. If you pick one, so if you are responsible taxonomists, please do pick your holotype because you make everyone's life easier. Sometimes you like just describe new species, like, oh, that yellow thing that look cute. Like, which yellow thing? Like, give me the type specimen, like give me the name of specimen. So that will be easy. So and sometime, and this is a good Ash, good Satoshi. He picked this holotype. So sometimes you're like, oh, you're a Pikachu. I love you. Oh, you guys are Pikachu. And he lists a specimen, and he did not say which one is holotype. All of this becomes syntype. And he created a problem for other people now. So like, you have a type specimen, but they're not the true holotype. Sketchy. But that's a problem from other people, not Ash, not Satoshi at the moment. So it's okay. It's okay to do this as well. So, but if you do it today, people will not let you do that. They will like, pick the holotype, please. But if Satoshi do that before 1900, he probably fine. And somebody else gonna fix that. And you started thinking about, okay, but then not everyone does this, right? Not everyone is a good taxonomist. Everyone is just lousy. And to be honest, I spend majority of my time these days fixing all those lousy people problems because they name so many new species and they like did not do the type specimen. Like, what? So like, I'm working with a student right now and there's a name of plant species from Thailand named Siamensis. And we don't know what they look like. There's a short description in Latin with no reference, and we have no idea what this plant look like. And we cannot still find them because we don't know what they look like because it's like a short description. It's like green leaf on trees. Thank you very much. Far from Thailand, in Ranong, hot spring, like from the hot spring in Ranong, like there's 5 hot spring at least in Ranong. Which one did you go to in 1953? Like, really? So, but this is a majority of the cases. So if they did not list the specimen or if the specimen were lost, you can do a few things. You can do lectotype, the lect come from to choose. Think of election, like you choose something. So you choose the new type to be a new holotype. So holotype might be lost. They probably choose a holotype, but it's gone, or they didn't choose a holotype. But you can choose them from the specimen that available to original publishing author, meaning you are sure that this specimen were collected by that person. So you can choose from the isotype or the syntype to replace the loss or the holotype that did not specify. We're going to talk about that in a bit. And then if all the specimen that author ever found was lost, then you choose neotype. Neo mean new. You pick the new one. You pick whatever you want. You don't know, like all the things that he ever collected are gone. Like we pick the new one completely because it fit the description. All right, to keep with the density type specimen. So this is a girl, I forget her name, from the Rocket team, which is the villain in the Pokemon series. It's more like caricature. It's like a joke. These villains are a joke. Jessie, thank you. So like they will try. They always try to capture Pikachu. They always want Pikachu for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, oh no, the water exo just died. Oh well, let's say like, which one of you is Pikachu, right? And look at the Satoshi description, and Satoshi just lists these four, and but Satoshi did not decide which one is holotype is or of this syn type, and like and Jesse come in and say, okay, since Satoshi is gone now, so I gotta pick the right Pikachu, right? So she might be like, I like this one, so I'm gonna select you as lectotype. So now you function as a holotype for Pikachu species. So you will see that even though it's act as holotype, now it's a reference for all the Pikachu species, but it's gonna stuck forever as lectotype because the real one, because Satoshi did not pick that, or Ash did not pick that, so Jesse who picked one instead, so it's stuck as lectotype. It's a new selected one to replace the old one. So in this case, it's select from the syn type. Another case, you can have lectotype based on the lost holotype. So in this case, Ash or Satoshi did the right thing. He picked the holotype, right? But then, bad things happen to people. So Satoshi 001 get burned during the war between Rocket Team and this and Satoshi. So that one is gone. That Pikachu is gone. So you now without the holotype. Is that glorious? I love that animation. I've always find the reason to use that animation because there's no other place to use that. So this is the only place we can use that in Keynote. So now the holotype is gone. So Jesse can pick the new type from the rest of the specimen. So she can pick even this one. So she can pick the isotype here. And now the isotype become new lectotype for the new species, for this species. So that's lectotype. So lect mean having to select from existing original specimen that the authors name. Burn in hell. People really into this burning animation. So, but there's such a thing that this happened before, and there's all the types are gone. Like syn type, holotype, like everything burned down, burn, baby, burn, everything's gone, right? It's not original Pikachu specimen anymore. And like, I want Pikachu. Which one are you, Pikachu? It's like, no one. It's like, uh-oh. And this happened more than once. You would think that they spend a lot of time like preserving this specimen. For example, my friend, he worked on this species of moss. Yeah, ash to ash, literally. He worked on species of moss, and all the specimen of that genus, or the whole genus, actually deposited in Berlin before World War One. And what happened in Berlin in World War II? It got bombed pretty big time. So yeah, so like Alexandria Library, the whole thing's burned down, and there's nothing left in Berlin Herbarium. So my friend had to pick the new type for this species based on the description. So we have to go read description, and Jesse here like, oh, Pikachu is like that yellow thing that released the thunder and always hang out with Ash. So he looked up the picture. It's like, there is this guy here in the picture, and this specimen is collected by Mr. Krychak, number 7829. So like, okay, that's good enough. So I pick you. I guess this is Pikachu then. So she picked this one as Neotype to replace the lost holotype. So Neo had to be completely new. It may or may not be the specimen that Ash collected. So you pick one to replace the lost one, or the one that never been selected to begin with. So this is when you fix a problem from the past. It's like, wow, that's a lot of work, right? So there's a 5 type of type specimen. So it's a 5 types of type specimen. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. And the full disclosure here, there's a lot more type of types. And there's like iso-syn type, iso-lectotypes. Like, oh God, people kill me now. So this is the main one that you should know. I only select the one that's important. But then also the names that have problems, because back in the day without internet, people were just naming random things and people were naming the wrong things. So like, what do we do? Like there's all this confusing name. And even something like this, that also from our practice, right? From our practical, we have this four proper bears here, the black bears and the brown bear, the polar bear. And this belong to genus Ursus, right? And then in most of your phylogeny, these stupid sun bears, you guys, I'm with you guys. So like this is one of those like your poor relatives. Like everyone is dressed up and everything. Like you go to weddings, right? And then one of your relatives, like I'm the sun bears of my family, is like everyone's like in suit and tie, and you like totally show up in your t-shirt and like, oh, I guess you're with us. Okay, sure, sure. Come on in, sit down. Okay, sit down. And so now the Ursus family have a problems because this not a monophyletic group, right? So you have a couple choices. Like it, according to phylogenetic concept, you cannot leave Ursus like that. Like you cannot leave Sun Bear out just hanging, like having him just standing in front of convention hall looking that stupid. It's like you have a couple of choices. You have first. This is first choice. It's like, okay, guys, let's do this. Um, as black bear going to become the new genus. This gonna be genus one, and you guys, the brown and the polar bear, since your great grandmother have sex back in the day, so you guys gonna be genus two, and we're gonna completely abandon Sun Bear because he looks really creepy. He could be genus three. You can do that. You can like ditch Sun Bear and like you separate yourself to save the family, to save the family grace. Let's have different last name and we all separate ways. That way you don't have to include him. Okay, let's do that. So there's some people who do that. We call them splitters. Like they have a tendency to split things up. Or there's some people like, you know what, this is crazy. He might look a little bit crazy, but he's still one of us. He's still bear, you know. Let's have him in the family. So you can have one big genus Ursus now, including the sun bears. You can do that. So, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's up to you as a taxonomist to decide this. I, in our small circle of taxonomists, there's some people who are splitters. They love new genuses, and yeah, something the same way. Like with the Chinese last name, Sad Bei, Sad, like they come from the big, like Blay family. Am I a splitter? What do you think? Actually, the funny thing is that like I'm teaching systematic class, and most systematics I met are likely to be a splitter because they like to make a name for themselves. But I came from ecology background. I'm ecologist at heart, and I always find frustrating when taxonomists keep making things up. Like, you guys stop, like stop with the splitting. They all bears, you know, they all bears. The bear is bear. They might look funny, but they're bears. So I tend to be a lumper. So the splitter and the lumper, and you can Google this. It's actually the real thing. The taxonomic splitter and taxonomic lumper. I'm a lumper. I'm like lump everything together. Yeah, sure. Put them in. Put them in. Like easier for most people. That's my view, because I feel like most of the time people have really little reason to split things. That's my view. But let's say we're gonna be lumper today. We're gonna go with the lumping. So we're gonna welcome the sun bear into our family, the majestic bear. Like we can have a funny one in our family. No worry about that. So, but there's a problems, right? So here's a problem, because you have two candidate names here. You have original family name, the Ursus, and you have the Helactus, the another genus name. So you're going to combine these two genus together. Which one going to rule as a name? And your instinct is always correct, because just like human family, right? The original family, the one that comes first, get the priority. So the first rule is the priority. The first comes, first serve. in parentheses validly. So the name has to be validly published. And if the name come first, see, 1758 come before 1825. So this name get priority. So health actors now lose the status. You get transfer to be with the Ursus. So this name is now gone. It's become Ursus. So everything that used to be health actors now have to change their family name to Ursus. Okay, and that leads us to the second point, which is transfer, which is a change in position or rank of the name. So now you're going to change this sun bear from Hell Actor Malayanus. You're going to get a new name, your new last name, Ursus. So now you move Malayanus into the Ursus. Now you are the same. You're still Sun Bear, but you have a new last name. It's the Ursus. Now you're part of bigger royal bear families. Feeling good with yourself now? Yeah. So, but then there's a way we recognize that it come from different place. So you know that Horsfield named the Sun Bear, so we still recognize him in parentheses. So you transfer him into parentheses here. Sometimes you see this parentheses in the author names. That's where it come from. So this name Malayanus used to name by Horsfield. And I make this new combination between Ursus and Malayanus. So I the one who do the new combination. Try check here. Nobody did that yet. People still leave Sun Bear behind. So I'm gonna be the one who do this. So I'm gonna combine the Sun Bear, group Sun Bear into the Ursus. And this action is called COM-NOV. Is Latin for combinatio nova, new combination. I make the new combination between the Malayanus from Hell Actors with the Ursus. They're different family, make a new combination. So this is a full name now. Ursus Malayanus, parenthesis Horsfield, because Horsfield is the first one to use Malayanus, and Kreischer is the one who make new combination. So now I'm letting you in our secret code of systematics. Now you read the name, you know everything about that name. Ooh, this name used to be Horsfield, and now Kreischer moved it to Ursus. Huh. So this is almost like a code. Nobody outside this class can read this code. No, actually a lot of people don't understand this. So all the systematics, all the taxonomists know how to read this. So this is our understanding. This is what happened when you transfer. And there's something, another funny thing happened too. We have something case of homonymy. Homo means same. Nymi mean name. So same name for different things, for different organisms. For example, if you're Australian, you're probably really familiar with this. It's echidna, right? Echidna is an anteater, but spiny. So it's like anteater mating with the hedgehog. Basically, it's a hedgehog on an eater. So echidna, and everyone in Australian, its common name is echidna. It's echidna because echid, right, mean spiny, right? But poor echidna, right? Echidna have the genus name Echidna by Cuvier in 1979. 1797. So as a English as a second language, the last thing that will come to me naturally is the numbers. The numbers are difficult. And if you're a French speaker, counting in French is like the worst thing ever. It's like 4 times 20 plus 7. It's like difficult. So yeah, like if you are a native English speaker, you have no understanding of this. Yeah, well, the French is not even base 4, it's base 20, like the weird system. But sorry if you're French people here, like, oh, look up the French numbering. Is so fun. It's like, and French people have no problem with it at all. And everyone who learn French like have so much trouble. Everything is normal until you hit 80s, and it's like become crazy. Anyhow, another thing. So I'm gonna mess up number a lot because of that. So Cuvier named it in 1797, but then another guy named Forster named this moray eel, which is really big eel, like really creepy looking eel. I like, they look ugly, but they kind of There's just nothing wrong with them. They're all beautiful, right? It's also named Echidna in 1788, only by 9 years. Like, God, it beat by 9 years. My name is Echidna, and you stole my name. Technically, you kid, you stole his name. He was Echidna before you. You Echidna 9 years later, even though you look a bit more Echidna than the other one, he got his name. So what do? The process of priority, right? This guy get the priority. The older name get priority. He has the legal, he has a right to the name Echidna. So you come later, no matter how badly you want the name Echidna, you cannot get that. So the name had to be changed. So I have to change the name to something new. So currently Echidna have a genus name called Tachyglossus by Gill in 1872. So I have to change the name. Poor Echidna. So you come later, you just, yeah, you never do the right thing. He come first, I know. Oh well, and this Echidna is monster. We can talk about Echidna all day long. They're super uber cute. And anyhow, oh, Echidna means monster in Greek. Oh, good to know that. So I didn't know that. So when you have this, you have to resolve the name, because remember, one organism can only have one name, and you cannot have repeated name in the same group. Animals have to have all unique name, and plants have to have all unique name. This problem happened a lot of time back in the day because people just naming things, they don't talk to each other. Like, how many times echidna biologists would talk to eel biologists? Like 0 time, basically. So, and finally, you have a case like this. So people, when you see new animals, right, they excited. They're like, oh, this antelope have crazy horn, right? There's like, oh, let's name in antelope Capra americana from America in 1815. And then this guy, Gray, in 1855, found, oh, this is a true story, I'm not making this up. This is, they found a skull that looked a bit more curvy. I said, that could be a different species, probably the same genus, a different species. So it called anti-flexa. Anti mean front or before, flexa mean curve. So like it's a bit curvy than the others. And he only found a skull, and he named a new species name. So it's like a horn pronghorn. I gotta put horny in there, but this is how appropriate. So it's like very, very horn pronghorn, it's like really horny. So like not the I'm talking about the horn here. Sorry, I should stop just there. But it turned out that they now comparing the skull that Gray described, and it's exactly the same thing as pronghorn. It's just like the weird pronghorn, basically. It's just like one of those, like your crazy relatives, just look a bit different, but still the same species. So basically, these two names both describe the same thing. So like, why do you have two names? You only one thing. So you guess which name got used? The older name. So this name get priority. Okay. So, and this name become what we call synonym. So this name no longer used, it becomes synonym of this. So every time you can do this. You can copy this name, Antilocapra antiflexa, in the Google, and it will show up the other name, Antilocapra americana, because now it's the same meaning. But this is the official name because it's older. It got the priority. The other one becomes synonym. So this actually, you can see now, this is the work of systematists and taxonomists. They have to look at a lot of specimens and look at all these names and decide, oh, actually, you know what? You guys are just talking about the same thing. You have 10 different names. And one of the lichens I work with have over 100 synonyms describing the same thing. I was like, you guys are crazy. Like every time one person see a new thing, they're like, oh, that's a new thing, and they keep a new name. They don't realize that it's already been named 100 years ago. And this happened a lot in insect world. There's a lot of amateurists, entomologists. They call themselves entomologists. They just love beetles. They love bugs. So they found new bugs that just like slightly curvier at the other. They just name new things. And you see how easy it is to publish new name. So just say to 5 friends and then it's done. So the real taxonomy is just come around. It's like, oh God, these people have to come around and clean all this up. It's a lot of work. It's just messy. So that's why we're gonna have a job forever, even though nobody gonna pay us. But it's never be done. It never be done. So